Hello, good morning. This was the only place that I could sit quite comfortably and talk to you for a bit. Ernie is down here somewhere, so you might hear him scratching around. But I've just got ready to go out to a doctor's appointment. It's the first time that I'm dressed in actual clothes today. And I say actual clothes, it's a long sleeve top and my tracky bottoms. I generally never go outside the house in my tracky bottoms, but needs must. Anyway, so I thought I'd talk you through. I took this diary. I've got this massive diary. It was only from Tesco, quite cheap. And it has these really good big pages in it. So when I was in hospital, every day I took it with me to write down what was happening. So on the day of my op, all I've written is, no sleep, I'm uncomfy. Which, actually, to say that I was just uncomfy. So then the Wednesday, which we'll call post-op day 1, was a really bad day. Now, I have talked before about the staffing crisis in the NHS, and it was totally to do with the staffing crisis. If I tell you that me and the lady opposite had both had total abdominal surgery, so I have 42 staples. I might show you my scar in this. I probably won't because I know that people can be squeamish, but if anybody's interested, just get in touch with me on Instagram and I'll send you a picture of my scar. But it is from about here. Where's my first? There's my first. Oh, you can't see. There's my first staple, and it goes all the way down and under and just above my pubic bone. So yeah, so the staffing was so bad that although in the morning I had a catheter to drain urine, I had fluids up, and I had a PCA, which is a patient-controlled analgesia. And it was just a needle into my arm with a little button that every time you can press it, I think every 5 minutes, and get a shot of morphine. So that was really great. But when that was taken down, I then didn't get any painkillers for about 6-7 hours, which is terrible. And it's really hard because you want to keep shouting at the nurses, but you know that it's not their fault. Like, they're in a system where they're so short-staffed that they cannot give someone post-op the treatment. I was really nauseous and couldn't really eat anything. The only things that I ate were a mouthful of toast and a couple of mouthfuls of potato. I stood up when they came to make my bed, and the lady opposite said to me that she could see from the second that I stood up, all the colour just drained from my face. And if I hadn't have been sitting in my chair, I would have fainted. I spent the whole day asleep pretty much, just waking up now and again. And yeah, I had a really bad experience with a student. They tried to say that it was because this student was new, but she was just rude, just really, really rude. Argued with me. I'm not going to go into the story, but I might at some other time. And yeah, so that was day 1 post-op. Day 2, I felt even worse. The pain by this point wasn't bad at all. The night staff that came on that night were fantastic. And they really, really looked after us. And so the next day, the only thing that I could eat was, I ate a bowl of Rice Krispies and a jam sandwich. I went to the toilet. I went to the shower, and took my dressing off. And I've just written, scar is gnarly, because my scar's got staples in at the moment, and I've never had staples before. So it's definitely a Frankenstein kind of situation. I had a massive headache, and I just slept all day. I was so flat. Then must have been about 8-9 o'clock on the night, because it was after Tom had left, I got a fever and I just felt awful. The night sweats were horrendous while I was in hospital, but I haven't had any since I've been home. But we don't have central heating here, so I think it was just that I'm not used to being in such a hot environment. I've had a couple of hot flushes, but touch wood, symptoms of the menopause have been a lot less than I thought I was going to have. So on post-op day 3, I felt awful last night, but I'm starting to feel better after my night's sleep. Managing to eat, started reading, and really hungry today. After not eating the previous 2 days, I inhaled a bag of jelly babies. I inhaled a couple of packets of crisps, toast, and dinner. I had fish and chips for my dinner. So yeah, I could tell that I was getting on the mend then. And then post-op day 4, I washed my hair for the first time. My scar is leaking slightly underneath. If you can imagine, under my belly, there's a bit that doesn't really get any daylight. So one thing that we've been doing that the consultant told us to do is get a hairdryer on the cool setting and blow it to dry it. Thanks for that, Ernie. Ernie just jumped on a pile of pillows over there. I was still feeling dizzy, and the junior doctor came to me and told me that I'm anemic and started me on iron, so that accounts for that. My reading will start to picking up. I've written scar leaking slightly twice on there, so yeah, that was the main thing of the day. And I came home that night, so I didn't expect to be home so quickly, but I was just so glad to be in my own bed. The first night was really difficult because I usually sleep on my side, but I can't at the moment because it's too sore. So I had to kind of sleep upright in the bed. Every single pillow that we've got was kind of padded around me to stop me falling down. I haven't written anything for post-op day 5. I just remember that I was at home. I was glad to be able to be eating little and often. I think I had scrambled eggs for dinner, which I'd been craving on the previous days. And then post-op day 6, which was yesterday, I've been having this really bad pain in just one spot on my abdomen. And if I touch it, it's really hard and rigid. So I don't know if that's a collection of fluid. So I am off to the doctors in a moment just to see about that. Felt really nauseous, really dizzy and weak, and spent the day in bed. And then yesterday, which was post-op day 7, I was feeling a bit better. I managed to go downstairs. The iron tablets don't seem to be agreeing with me, so I'm really struggling to take those. But apart from that, I think I'm doing really well. The thing that I have to keep in my head now is not to do too much too soon. It's really tempting once you start to feel a bit better to want to run before you can walk. So although I say I'm feeling well, I am literally going from this chair to the bed to the sofa and around those 3 places. Mornings are horrendous. Waking up when you've not had any painkillers and having to go to the toilet. I will say my bladder seems to be really weak. I have not experienced any incontinence, but when I wake up in the morning, from the minute I'm kind of upright, I have to go to the toilet straight away. And I'm only just about making it. But I said I was going to be honest on this channel, so I will hopefully update you later when I'm back from the doctors. So just before I went to the doctors, this happened. But I've got a doctor's appointment and I can't have anything touching my scar. So because these are quite baggy, I do have maternity leggings, but they're quite tight. So let me just show you these. He didn't do any damage, but it was just really sore. The doctor agrees with me that I have got a little collection of fluid, but she doesn't think there's an infection there, so we're just going to keep an eye on it at the moment. The very bottom of my scar is a bit gunky, but she said that's to be expected because of where it is. There's not any air getting to it or light. I think I've tried to do a little bit too much too soon. So I've come to bed for an afternoon cat nap. Ahem. We're friends again now, aren't we, Ernie? Are we friends again? Okay then, that's that. So today is post-op day 10 and I'm feeling a little bit rubbish. I can't remember what I last filmed, but yesterday part of my wound started really leaking. But it doesn't, there's no signs of infection, there's no hotness, redness, any of the things that you need to look out for. And I'm going to the nurse on Monday to have my staples out, so she'll be looking at it then. Today I just feel really deflated. I feel a bit hormonal. I nearly had a cry because we didn't have any cucumber at lunch. So that's not something that I would normally have a cry about. I've started bleeding a little bit, but from looking at hysterectomy, like forums online, a lot of people have said that they didn't have any bleeding until about day 10. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I am really struggling with my iron tablets because they're upsetting my bowels. I'm having a lot of diarrhea, and I think that really like counteracts the point of taking the iron tablets, because everything that's going in is coming out. This is the fun of post-op day 10. I'm just on the sofa and I am reading Anthony Warner's The Truth About Fat. This was kindly sent to me by One World Publishers. I am probably going to end this week's weekly vlog here and get it sorted for tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. But actually, let's finish on a nicer note than me moaning about being hormonal and show you my little buddy. So this is my little foot warmer. Bert does not like to leave my side at the moment. He's been a really good little nurse. So yeah, I will see you next week. If you enjoyed this vlog, please like and subscribe below, as it means the absolute world to me.